All right, just being cognizant of everyone's time, it's 12:01 or 12:04, depending on which clock you're looking at. Okay, and we'll just he's on his way was the message we got. Should we just go ahead and move forward?
I'll just keep him as a partial attendance.
All right.
Keep going.
All right, and so we will call our meeting to order, meeting of the Durant Community Facilities Authority, specially called meeting, and clerk will call the roll, please.
Okay. Trustee Baxter?
Here.
Trustee Blackburn?
Here.
Trustee Briscoe?
Here.
Trustee Dillard is absent. Trustee Grover?
Here.
Trustee Miller?
Here.
Trustee Similescu is absent. Vice Chairman Pierce?
Here.
Chairman Webb?
Here. All right, so we do have a quorum, and our called meeting is as a result of our previous meeting. We discussed the forming of a subcommittee to discuss and consider recommendations, as is shown in our administration here, from projects and funding of the Durant Community Facilities Authority. And so with that, Natalie, I would recognize you. I think you helped to organize that meeting, so we'll open for discussion, and you might give us a report on discussion and what took place there.
So last Tuesday, we met with representatives from Southeastern that kind of some projects that they kind of would like to have and how it would benefit the community. And I know that our Durant representative was sick, but you know, we do know the things that he's wanting as well. And of course, we just don't have the money to fully fund either one. And so what we talked about, what we thought would be best and most beneficial, especially getting something approved today, would be, we do know that we have 600 and some change right now that is ready to be, that can be spent. And so we had decided, after listening to both and understanding that both would benefit the community very well, to divide in half, 50-50, 600,000, so 300 to Southeastern, 300 to Durant Parks and Management, kind of to see fit as how they would want to spend it, and then they would do a PO through Ann.
Okay.
But we decided to do 50-50 because, like I said, neither one would fund, the 600 wouldn't even fund just, either one fully.
Right. Okay.
And we're already kind of doing 50-50 a little bit. I think Southeastern has a little bit more on the spending, but with the sports complex and Southeastern. And so we decided to kind of keep it at that and go ahead and request that they each get 300 to do as needed.
Okay. All right. Other observations or, Dr. Similescu, yes. Yes.
So we gotta make, so that's kind of just to make sure that's clear.
Okay.
And then also, we would kind of reconvene, obviously, at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have more money that we kind of have to make a decision on, kind of coming back around with kind of the same thing or maybe something else. But
right.
Hopefully this would get some things in action.
Okay. All right. Sure.
Do that and kind of the same 50-50 split over the next year or so until it's done.
Yeah, a little bit of a moving target, because the good thing about the reports that she gives us each time is that just almost every meeting we have, we've set a new record for for tax revenue, and so that hopefully those things continue to to increase in addition to our deposits that we've kind of realigned for better earnings. So, other discussion or questions that we have?
Are there any guidelines at all on what that money will be spent on? And the reason I ask is because, in my opinion, if you give someone a blank check, it may be spent in ways that we would never even approve. And if we give them some kind of criteria, maybe then they could at least come back and have something that would be more something that we would approve, or something that we wouldn't waste everyone's time with.
Right. And I think that Dr. Sim hit on that a little bit, is they would have to come and present that. You said, yeah,
Where they're going to spend it.
where they're going to spend it
They
to.
would say, hey, I'm going to put, and it should be toward, complex or something like that, and then towards the arena and the state, because that's the intent of the original bill, of the original bond. I think that's
Yeah, I'd just like to see that wording in there, that if we're going to give, $300,000 to each, that money would be,
Based on a proposal.
based on proposal, but also for specifically the things that Dr. Simulescu just said.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Other thoughts or considerations or questions that we may have? I think, and I may be putting cart before the horse just in process here, but I think then probably a good idea that we maintain our projects and funding subcommittee because we, in being good stewards, we want to see what the progress is with the funding. I mean, we're going to allocate this, but just so when that sunset period does happen, that we're able to do with what what the group would suggest. Yes, sir.
We also need to give a deadline. So, because we meet quarterly, we have to have another special meeting in 2-3 weeks, something like that, to come together with proposals so we can, approve that, get the ball rolling. I think would be a good idea. I don't know. These guys have anything to say? Sure.
I had a question. What was any of the plans presented to the committee from the southeastern or the city? They were? Okay.
Southeastern presented, and they gave kind of an estimated budget and the different things. And then at the last meeting, we were presented with things that he would like. And like I said, it just wasn't feasible, each thing. But there are a few things in there that are.
Right.
And what I've, kind of noticed that the problem is we kind of keep pushing things off, and all of a sudden, for example, just throwing it out there at the pool slide, for example, if we would have approved that, he would have had it probably by next summer. However, us pushing it off another 3 months to the next meeting, well, there goes his deadline. So that's kind of the thought process on why the subcommittee was created.
Gotcha.
Other questions or comments, suggestions?
I guess what's a reasonable deadline? We need to come up with that.
Right.
Are we talking a month? Are we talking, I don't know when our next regularly scheduled meeting is. So when?
Is it December?
Isn't it November, Cindy?
Yeah, I would think so too.
So, I mean, with $300,000, what I can do right now is just to repair the track, to replace the resurfacing, and you're looking at $295,000 or $100,000. Plus, I have leftover money from our redoing the parking lot that I will upgrade the track by $40,000 to make it where it's impermeable, so water doesn't seep in there. And then with the leftover money, start tackling the other small projects at the complex, getting a new bunker tote. So when ours inevitably goes out by the end of the year, I have one all ready for it, and replacing our scoreboards, because we have two that are completely out, and the other two, if you get, I did 88 by 80, or the score was 88 to 88, and it came up as 4 dots. So it makes it a little hard to read. So I'm getting those scoreboards replaced. I already have quotes for all that, so I'm just gonna kind of tackle it with the money that we have. But for this, a lot of money, just go for the track and getting that resurfaced.
No room for interpretation in the score of a game. You don't want
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
making their own interpretation, right? I get you.
It's make and the outs, some of them, one
Right.
side works and the other
Yeah.
side doesn't, so
Yeah.
you're kind of guesstimating there.
I got you.
Is this your proposal right now,
Yeah.
as in saying
Yeah.
the
So-
300?
So here's December the 5th. December 5 is our next full board meeting. Would it be feasible then that we could say that between now and December the 5th, that if you could kind of summarize what
Well, with this, I would just go for getting the track redone.
Yes.
Because I have the quote, and they have a state contract
Mhm.
that I can get that ball rolling, because
Right.
if we wait until December 5th,
Gotcha.
I have a 2-month span
Okay.
to get it done.
Gotcha. Okay.
Before
Okay.
the next league goes.
Got it? Okay. Got it?
Right. What do you think about the signage outside the complex? It's looking a little rough.
It is, but I don't have money to replace it right now.
That may be something as we go for.
I'm gonna try to talk to Sign Depot, see what it costs it, because that logo needs updated.
Right.
And that's,
Gatesville, Rusty,
it's
that
been
kind of stuff.
20 years since we've changed it, so the whole thing needs to be updated.
Okay. All right. And then there was a proposal presented by Southeastern.
Yes, but it was kind of a lump sum one. It wasn't individually. But we did say, you know, if you could kind of maybe different projects, but we never gave, at the time, we didn't give you an amount because we weren't for sure at that time. But would y'all be able, when would be a good time to maybe meet for a proposal of that amount on an item?
I mean, we have, as part of our presentation and proposal, it had 2 separate areas that were involved, and a lot of that was just continued improvement and enhancements that was done 20 years ago. And so the big pieces on there is the digital boards in the arena and on the football field, and we feel that, you know, that's where that would be our priority would be there to enhance all that, because as you know, the community uses those facilities as well. The high school plays on the field and things like that. So we feel like those would be a priority for us to modernize and add technology into our facilities and better technology in our arena to be able to enhance the multitude of events that we host. You know, we bring about 120,000 a year between those 2 events, and it's not just football, basketball, it's graduations, camps, clinics all throughout the year over the summer. And so we would feel like that's where our priority would be, and it would put us on par with other places outside of our community that are doing the same and give us the same modern footprint as well, that would really enhance our university and the town as well, because like I said, we're a shared facility with the high school on Friday nights, Saturday mornings, in the arena, you name it. Durant graduation's there. And the board that's in the arena, as you know, is almost 20 years old. And, you know, if you have a TV for 5 years, the technology goes out quickly. So those would be our priority right there, and those were on that proposal as well. So, but that's the one thing that we would definitely put that funding towards to enhance that as well.
So if I understand correctly, then pieces of the original proposal is what you're referring to, and same thing with the proposal that you made to the committee. I kind of agree with Chris, and I know that you all had an opportunity to look at that within committee. I don't know if that suffices for the other board members to form an opinion and a vote that weren't in that, you know, in that committee meeting. So that would be a very open-ended question. That was in the form of a question. Is that sufficient, or do those that were not serving in that committee need to see some additional information, or just take that on the recommendation of the committee?
Well, are we gonna be looking at exact amounts and exact bids, or are we just gonna say 300, 300? Like, if we've got exact bids, if we've got a total job description, we know what it's for, and we know how much money it's gonna cost, I'm ready to vote. Do we have any of that?
We've got proposals for both, yes.
Do you have a bid, like a hard bid?
We could get that to you, yeah. I don't have it today, on me today.
I
but
say
yes.
let's have another meeting as soon as everybody's ready.
One other thing that I'd like to know, and this may be for the city, but Becca Parr's done some incredible things about getting some grants to match things, and so a lot of times there are those match monies that if you put into this certain thing, you can get additional funds and stretch your dollar a little bit more. So I don't know if we considered that or not, but that may be something that I would like to at least have her maybe look into, if the city would be okay with that, is that maybe we could find a match grant for some of this, or anything like that would stretch that 300,000 to make it 600 or whatever that case may be.
Okay.
How long do grants normally take to go through, would be my only kind of concern.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think part of what you could consider is that I know that probably we know that there's considerably more that we need to get done at the complex. I'm assuming there's additional upkeep over that 20 years in the facilities you're talking about. You know, in a lot of projects, I know at the Southeastern Foundation we work on a project and it continues, and there's a grant writing opportunity. You know, midstream, you write that grant and you say, listen, we've already taken care of 25% or 30% of, you know, our overall vision and forecast for what we want to do. So, you know, I don't know that it's necessarily a barrier for us to get started, but it's a great opportunity to go to someone and say, listen, we've already got $300,000 towards our project. That is about a 1 point, I forget what.
So speaking to those grants, the deadline was September 30th. So the next time we can apply will be the September 30th.
And that was with what entity?
Land water grant.
Okay.
The one that I applied for
Right.
several months ago, or
Right.
felt a year ago.
Right.
That they waited until August to let me know I didn't get it.
Right.
That I didn't reapply because I wasn't going to tie up my money for
Sure.
another year
Yeah.
just to find out I didn't get it. I'm
Yeah.
going to get these projects done
Sure.
that you guys enlisted that we're going to do.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with those grants, is you never know when you actually get word on whether or not you get it.
Yeah.
And
If you spend some of that money now, like if you spend 300,000, could you apply that to?
pretty much once you say you're using that money for that grant, you can't touch that money until you get word, because if once you spend it, you're not getting a match for it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We've got a couple of resources that we utilize at the Southeastern Foundation that would be, I think, Texoma Health Foundation. I think recreation is a big part of what they make grants for. Southern Oklahoma, I'd say an Ardmore Foundation. Anyway, we've been successful on several of those, so I could assist in that process. So, yeah, yep. So, okay. So with the information that we have, and the information that we don't have readily to view, and we have full board meeting, regularly scheduled meeting, December the 5th. We gotta act if we want to be. Anyway, it needs to be in a timely manner, and I don't know that based on this report that we can wait, 60 more days to get that done. So, kind of what's Cynthia? Is there a limit to how many times we can gather in a special? Okay, so yeah.
So the 17th of October would be 2 weeks. I know there
Okay.
would be 3 weeks. 24th of October would be 3 weeks.
Okay, so could we encourage each group then Well, let's just, everybody take your mobile, life-altering devices. Yeah. An afternoon meeting on the 17th.
If I'm not mistaken, city's ready to go.
Okay.
So I don't know why we would wait another 2 weeks for the city now. Southeastern's
Mhm.
not ready, they come back in 2 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I think what Tim was saying is that if you bring us a proposal for X amount versus just, we're gonna give you $300,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So we can at least vote on that, and then, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll have one copy, but you take it with it.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the proposal that we looked at in the previous meeting. Yeah. That was a presentation from our previous.
Was it the
full board.
September 5th meeting? The only reason I'm asking is just because it says that pricing is valid for 14 days from the date of this proposal. I just didn't know if,
They are fine with keeping that quote. The
Okay.
price hasn't changed.
Okay.
They have been pretty open with, as
Okay.
long as we're kind of moving forward with it.
Yeah.
Where I've told them multiple times that
Yeah.
it's waiting to get approval.
Sure.
So,
Just one final question, or one final that I have with regard to the track.
Mhm.
Is there proposed use for the track? Have we not used the track because it's not usable? Because it's
right now it's
really
not
never been
usable.
used.
Right now
Yeah.
it's not usable,
Right.
for one. It used to be used, and then someone said that the track was off in some way.
Right.
This company has measured it out, and they say there's nothing wrong with the track. The only
Right.
thing I can think of is the markings
Mhm.
weren't state level or whatever.
Right.
And that's the only thing we can come up with.
Right.
So with that, they do all the markings. They make sure everything meets
Sure.
up to not only high school standards, but I can actually have them
Right.
do college standards as well.
Right.
So we can use it for Durant track and Southeastern track events. I've already talked
Okay.
to the track coach.
Okay.
He would like to have
Mhm.
to host a track meet.
Right.
He just doesn't have a location to do it.
Okay.
So, I mean, even if it's just that track meet, that track does get utilized for Relay for Life. It gets
Sure.
utilized for Special
Special
Olympics 2
Olympics,
or
yeah.
3 times.
You bet.
So it needs to be redone either way. And I know at least 5 people run that track every morning.
Right.
So
Right.
just repairing the holes in the tracks is a big deal.
Right. Okay. Okay. So based on provided information, dates, timing, further discussion, motions from the group, open the floor. Yes, sir.
You feel like this track is your highest priority right now? Like, are we gonna start having track meets? Like, where does the high school do their thing and where does the college do their thing currently?
I know at least college, when I talk to them, they'd usually do it in the spring. Fall's pretty much the whole football field's taken up for football, but spring we don't have anything going on. So if we get a track where it is at that level, we can start hosting track meets. I haven't reached out to other high schools in the area to see if they want to do a track meet at our location, just because it isn't being utilized. So I don't want to get their hopes up and it not be a thing. But we can start utilizing it and start reaching out and getting the people, because I mean, it used to be the stuff out there right now was the Durant high schools, and we still have it, and it just need to be replaced.
What is Durant High School using currently?
Their track.
So they have a track.
They do have a track.
Will they start using this track? Or will
I-
they still continue to use Durant High School's track?
I don't know. I haven't talked to them, but I do know it's a safety hazard for the track, for our current track. So it's either we get it redone so it can be utilized again, or we get rid of it. Because there are holes in the track, so we can't have anything, and the liability of people walking and running the track every day and they step in a hole, it's on us.
I guess my question is, I hate to spend $300 grand and we don't know if anybody's gonna use it. There has to be a purpose, a specific purpose, and go, yeah, these guys want this track, and they're gonna do this many meets, and they're gonna do this many competitions. I mean, are we able to get more specific? Are we just gonna build a track and hope they come, or what?
Well, like I said, I did talk to the Southeastern's coach, and if we have the track done and it meets college standards, he's willing to host at least one track meet a year. He would like to have more, but if we get a track, we'll be one of the few towns around this area that has a college track close enough, so we can get a lot more people and get the space, because I mean, a lot of these high schools around, they are small. So if we get a track meet or a track that the high schools can utilize and be in a little bit better condition for these little towns, they would possibly be able to hold them as well.
Right now, you think that's the best project we got out there for the 300?
For out there, just getting where our track is not a safety violation anymore would be a great deal. I mean, there's a lot of other projects out there, but like with the scoreboards, I can make it work. Sooner or later we need to get a building for our workers, so our tractors aren't just stored out in the elements. But right now, this is what I'm going for, just because it is a safety hazard. That's really what I'm get it down with, is getting rid of the safety hazards so we can utilize it. So we can, even if it is just for little events like Relay for Life or Special Olympics, that's a lot better than having a track with big holes in it that measure, I think one hole was 48 inches long and 2 feet wide. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't be in at a complex that big. We shouldn't have a hole that big.
I'm kind of with Tim on this. I don't want to spend $300,000 on something that 5 people use. And I know where you're saying like we can get other events and everything, but I see a lot of people out there for soccer and a lot of people out there for football on a weekly basis. There are thousands of people utilizing the sports complex for those things. I never see anyone at the track, and so I'd love for us to spend some of that money on the things that the people are actually utilizing versus the potential of there may be something that 1,000 people are going to come to a year for this money that we're going to spend.
Hypothetically, though, football gets played out there, correct?
Yes.
And they're walking that track area. If someone falls and breaks their leg, are we responsible for that because of that big hole in there? That's kind of what I'm thinking as well. I mean, it's kind of a
It would definitely be a
double-edged
legal
sword
issue.
there. So that's why I can kind of see the concern with wanting to get that done. yeah.
Because I know, right, like at least during the spring, college track practices out there every day. Right now, they run around the complex for cross country. They use the hammer and the discus throw area, which I'm going to move, just do it on my own budget, because right now they're throwing into Colton's Field where we have soccer during the spring and fall. So every week we had to go about filling in holes.
Shot putting
So
discus divots, yeah.
moving that to a different location and getting this track redone so we can have these events. Because right now there's nowhere to hold them.
Right.
And I mean, high school tracks bring in a couple hundred people at least. College tracks, they're going to be from farther distances. They'll stay overnight. They'll bring in more tax revenue.
So just from the funds available, I think bottom line, for me, bottom line is bottom line, is if this is your priority, if this is the thing that you think with available funds, that this is the thing, that's
Yes.
what I'm asking you to say. That's
Yes, this
okay.
is just for liability purposes. This is the thing to do.
Right.
Because yes, I would love to use these funds to better a different area, but bottom line, we have to make sure our facilities are in top shape to host any events.
it's
Because
gonna be
even if
there, it
they,
needs to be up to
like you
snuff.
said, we have 1,000 people coming to football every day
Right.
or every week,
Yeah.
and they come and they see the track is just deteriorating around the field.
Right.
That's not a good sign.
Right.
So getting this, it's just bringing in the image of Durant that we
Right.
do take care of our stuff.
Gotcha.
And we also have to keep in mind this money's not coming in after another year or so. It's
Yeah.
gone.
So I'm trying to get our big
anything we're trying to
projects
maintain
done.
or upgrade now, we got to get it done now so we can, it'll last another 20 years.
Yeah, because if you do it right and you get the right stuff and you actually do preventative maintenance on it, it lasts a whole lot longer than what we've done. Everything at that complex, we put it in and then we moved on and we didn't ever do preventative maintenance. Getting it cleaned with this company, they do come and clean it for up to, I think it was 10 years. They clean it once a year. If you start seeing cracks, you patch them right then versus letting them freeze and cracking more. So doing that preventative maintenance will make it last almost 30 years versus doing it every 10, 15.
Just a question. If we do that, is that something, I know that a lot of people sit and roll their chairs and things like that. Are they going to be able to sit on the track when they watch the football games? Are they going to be able to do that? We're going to
No.
have to keep them off.
No, if we get this track redone, we have football stands.
Right.
So they can use the football stands. Like our mowers, we're gonna get the preventative mats that you drive across that mat versus directly on the track. Doing those simple things is what we're gonna have to do.
Right, but it's going to have to be,
Someone's gonna have to police it,
Yeah,
and
enforce it, yeah.
Make sure they're not running a
Yep.
$100,000
Okay.
track that was just installed.
yes.
Right. With regard to that, the bid that you have, I don't suppose there's any other, like, bid process? I mean, are we go?
If it's
we good?
not bid,
Got it.
it's already been bid.
Okay, got it. Okay. Good. Okay. Thoughts, comments? Questions, motions?
If we do this, do we run these contracts through our city attorney or somebody to make sure that they are tight enough and specific enough and enforceable? So Markham will bless that.
Okay. Any other word?
So the question is, Southeastern needs to get their bids and quotes, which is for us, it is a 21-day process.
Okay.
It's an open, you have to put, for that amount, you've got to put it out. Yeah, I don't know what the city has to go through, but we have to go through. It's got to be a closed and then an open bid for 21 days, opened at the 21st day.
Okay.
So that's, that we can get quotes, but you can't get a formal bid up until that point.
Okay.
So I don't know how that affects the timeline.
So that process for that portion of the funds would probably best be served by the December 5th vote. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the process we'll take there. It's a good pen, right? Yeah. And so for the proposal at hand,
I'd like to make a motion to approve $300,000 to be used for the refurbishing of the track at the Drent Multisports Complex.
I have a motion? And a second? Any further discussion? You record the vote?
My thought on this,
Yes.
and we'll see, what Rick thinks on this too, but my thought on this is that we should probably include in this motion that these funds be divided equally
first,
between the
and
two,
then-
because
Okay.
you're already saying there could be additional
Okay.
funds. Would you agree?
Okay.
Yeah, do we need to do that first and then approve if that's,
I think
Require you to
so.
Okay.
retract that motion.
I retract my motion.
Okay. Would you like to restate?
No, go ahead.
No, I need that to come from.
Okay.
So,
I move that we divide the funds equally between the city of Durant and the Southeastern sporting, is it?
projects, yeah.
Sporting projects.
the 600,000, yeah. I think that's what we agreed on, because there's a little bit more than that in there, but we just know for sure 600 can be.
And start with the amount of $600,000.
Second.
Motion and a second.
Okay. Trustee Baxter?
Aye.
Trustee Blackburn?
Yes.
Trustee Briscoe?
Yes.
Trustee Grover?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Simulescu?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Pierce?
Yes.
Chairman Webb?
Aye.
All right. Now I'll make the motion to approve.
Further motions to consider?
$300,000 to be used for the refurbishing of the track at the Durant Multisports Complex.
Have a motion?
Second.
And a second? Record the vote.
Trustee Baxter?
Yes.
Trustee Blackburn?
Yes.
Trustee Briscoe?
Yes.
Trustee Grover?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Simulescu?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Pierce?
No.
Chairman Webb?
Aye. All right. Motion carries. And just further note, for the December 5th meeting of our Dcfa, our regular scheduled meeting, we'll entertain that proposal from Southeastern. That's our only item on the agenda. Any other discussion? Any other word? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. And a second.
Trustee Baxter?
Yes.
Trustee Blackburn?
Yes.
Trustee Briscoe?
Yes.
Trustee Grover?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Trustee Simulescu? Vice Chairman Pierce?
Yes.
Chairman Webb?
Yes. Outstanding. Thank you. Appreciate you all. We are adjourned.